Good afternoon, everyone. We are live now on Facebook video. We welcome everybody. We welcome especially the panelists. We welcome our viewers on Facebook. We welcome all youth that are participating in this live conversation right now. Feel free to join the conversation. Make your comments, make your suggestions, your contributions, or raise any issues that you wish the panel and the host to address. We are all part of the conversation, and everybody is welcome to make a contribution. My name is Oke Uzechina, founder EduTrust Foundation. And if you followed our tweet chat in the past 2 days, you would realize that we have touched on many issues regarding youth civic responsibility, what the youth can do in their community to contribute to development. On Thursday, our tweet chat was with Samson, an IT expert and an innovator, an education innovator. On Friday, our tweet chat was with Jude Odufu, who is leading a campaign against early marriage in Adaka community in Benue State. And both of them made very critical comments and contributions to the conversation about youth civic responsibility. So what we will be further exploring today is, what do we really mean by youth civic responsibility? Why civic responsibility? Why should the youth be part of civic responsibility? What is the role of youth in contributing to national development? Is this role something that is merely a moral obligation? Is it a constitutional duty? Or is it any other form of obligation on the youth to contribute to the community where they live, where they work, and including virtual communities where youth can relate with everybody else and the whole world? What is entailed in youth civic responsibility, and how can youth participate more in civic responsibility? How can the youth make their voices more heard in governance, in improving accountability in governance, in improving transparency in governance, because we are all part of the government? And what specific contributions can the youth give in national development? But before we explore all these issues, I want to quickly touch on each one of the panelists so that you can give us an idea of who you are. Let the audience meet you. Share your name, your background, your education, and especially the work you're doing for your community or for society. What has been your specific contribution as a youth to the society or to your community? So this is how we are going to start off today. And after the roundtable introduction, then we will return to the specific issues. I'd like to kick off with Ishola Precious. So I invite Ishola to introduce himself to our audience and let us know the contribution, the unique contribution he's making to bettering the Nigerian society. Over to you, Ishola.
My name is an e-learning platform. But prior to that, let me say I'm a youth that is.
Hello, Ishola. Hello, Ishola. Can you increase your microphone? Can you increase your microphone so we hear you clearer?
Hello, everyone. Okay, can you hear me clearly now? Hello?
I can hear you, but very little. Can you increase? It's not so loud. Can you increase your volume?
All right. I'll just speak as loud as possible. I think I might have an issue there. All right. So, my name is Shola Precious, CEO and co-founder at emo.com, an e-learning platform. Okay, good. Yeah. So I want to say thank you very much for this privilege and for this honor to get to share and actually to be part of the EduTrust Foundation family. Let me say, thank you so much. Really grateful. Yeah. So prior to me starting my e-learning platform, I currently served as the team lead or an executive director of an NGO that was involved in environmental degradation. I'm just trying to describe my background to being a responsible citizen, basically. So I ran an NGO then, I think 2015 and 2016. We focused on environmental degradation and we ran an open burning campaign in a community at the University of Ibadan. And we were able to reach about 400 households and they were able to bring them into an ecosystem where they embrace recycling as an alternative to open burning. And fast forward in 2018, I launched an e-learning platform called elemo.com, basically for senior secondary school students. And that was because I discovered that close to 1 million secondary school students fail their SSC every year in Nigeria. That's the popular jump and white exam every year in Nigeria. And this is largely due to the problem of quality education and a lot of associated problems. So we started that we launched in 2018. Uh, Basically, for now, it's more of an exam prep. And in 2018, we were able to sign up over 500 students for the 2018 UTME that year, and then we were able to achieve about a 500, a 90% pass rate from the 500 students who signed up. So basically, Ilemo is an e-learning platform, and our plan is to leverage technology to provide quality education at an affordable price, basically. So we're trying to make quality education affordable and accessible to people. So that's basically brief of what we do at Ilemo.
Thank you for that contribution. So quickly, I'll go over to Michael Asogwa to introduce himself and share his contribution with the youth. Thank you, Michael.
Hello, everybody. My name is Michael Asogwa. I am from Enugu State. I was born in Borno State, and from there I grew up from Borno. I was also transferred. Okay, I followed my parents to Castilla State. So majorly, I did most of my learning, my primary and secondary education in the north. So I understand how it works over there. So maybe I might say that was one of because area or the major region that desires immediate attention in education reform. So that was University, Madonna University. I had my MSc in microbiology. The first degree was also in microbiology. I had my MSc in microbiology in Nasarawa State University, Kefi. So presently, fast forward to what I do presently. I work with a consultancy firm, and what we do generally is education project reform. We're also into human resources management, but majorly my interest is in education. So I am the project coordinator for education sector. So we've done a lot of projects, both with the donor company, the World Bank. We had one of our projects in Bauchi State, which is SDI. SDI stands for Service Delivery Indicator Survey. We did that in Bauchi State. We also did that in Anambra State. All these were within 2017, 2018. Then we had an evaluation we carried on that was early this year before the COVID issue on what the schools are doing, the gender sensitivity of the engagement and their recruitment. It was also a project under education reform. Then I think yesterday I came in from Bayelsa State. I also worked for another project still in education sector. That one has to do with how we can leverage on the government and the donor companies to close the gap between the graduates, that's the product of uh, federal colleges of education and the states. Close the gap we understood that they have between them and employment. So we want to bring in private partners that will help close that gap. So there was an evaluation carried out in some of those states, and I happened to be one of those people visiting the states. So I came in just what we do to keep complaining. But when you foot. So in our own little way, we have been doing it. And I want to sincerely thank EduTrust Foundation and the founder. I'm actually privileged to even be seeing the founder for the first time. It's a privilege to be part of your winners. And I think it's even a greater privilege to be seeing you as a person. I can't wait to see you physically and understand your drive towards this kind of big, a large, a huge project, I can say. So I don't know if there's any other part of the introduction I haven't been able to touch, but I'm trying to summarize so that I'll work with time too. Thank you very much.
I think you are muted.
Hello, Abednego. It appears the internet is freezing from his end. Hello. Okay, over to Obiora Obadibo at the moment. We'll rejoin Abednego in a while. So, Obiora, introduce yourself to our audience and let us know what you are doing for your community. You can share with us a little bit about the projects you have done to advance education and to advance the youth of Nigeria. Thank you.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Obiora Obadibo. I am currently the finance officer for EduTrust Foundation, and also I am the team lead for the literacy program. Yeah. So
Yep.
I joined EduTrust Foundation about a year ago, and so far it has been a very, very good ride. February this year, we had the first, the pilot project of, the digital literacy program. We had the pilot project in February of this year, and then the location was in Nasarawa State. Yeah, and the project was the project was aimed at addressing the problem of lack of access to internet-based resources, by teachers and students in Nigeria. So the project was aimed at addressing these issues, exposing the students and teachers to online-based resources so that they can actually leverage on it, because in the end, there are so many opportunities that we can get from the internet, apart from our conventional educational curriculum that we have and our educational resources. There's so much to get from the internet. So we used this project as a platform or as an opportunity to actually address this problem. And then our target was the secondary school students. So we targeted the SS1 to SS3 students, especially the SS3 students that are currently writing their senior WAEC examination. Yeah. So basically, that's what we've done so far. Well, that's just the little I can tell you about internet literacy projects. Yes, I am glad to be part of this tweet chat we're about to have now. I think we started on Thursday, and we had an expert on IT who, funny enough, he wasn't just or he's not just limited to IT. He was able to throw more lights on what youth civic responsibility is all about. And yesterday we had an awesome conversation with one of the winners of the EduTrust challenge. Jude, I think Jude was his name. Yeah. And then it was a good conversation too. So I'm looking forward to an awesome video chat today. Welcome everyone again.
Welcome, Obiora. Now let's go back to Abednego and this is off. Okay. We welcome Esther to our conversation. Hello, Esther.
Hi, everyone. Nice to be here.
Good. I can hear you clearly. Welcome.
Okay.
All right. So introduce yourself to the audience and tell us a little bit about what you're doing for your community before we get started in the main conversation.
Okay, that's fine. My name is Esther. I'm a legal practitioner, but basically, at the moment, I volunteer for different organizations, and I'm currently advocating for access to education for girls in rural areas, mostly because I grew up in a rural area, and it's something that I'm quite passionate about. We've started the Smarter campaign, which is for girls in rural areas and to ensure they have access to education and skills that will help them do better and make better choices. So yes, that's what I do at the moment.
Very good. We'll return to you in a bit, Esther. Let's also try Abednego now. Abednego?
Yes, I can hear you.
Loud and clear.
All right. Good day, everyone. And as you've rightly heard, can you hear me clearly?
Very clearly. Go on. Go on.
Oh, okay. So I am currently a final year student, unlike probably some of my colleagues here. I'm a final year student in Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University here in Bauchi. And it happens that I'm studying an engineering course. Yeah, interesting. Petroleum engineering specifically. So, and I'm someone who is driven by by the passion to just impact my world. And one of the reasons that even made me to go for petroleum engineering is I continuously hear of how the world needs energy and stuff like that. And that was one of the reasons ever since my secondary school, I just wanted to study petroleum. Then, okay, for the stuffs I do for my society, yes. You might be hearing some of my stuff for petroleum engineering because we have an association. Yeah, just pardon me. We have an association here, which is an international body. They call it SP, Society of Petroleum Engineers. And that was the very, that is rather the very forum that I got to allow me actually relate with my society, because we do more of community projects and all this, and that was where the passion started. And then it came to a point that I got engaged with an NGO here in Bauchi. It's named Lit Thoughts and Human Development Services. I was engaged as a trainee with them ever since last year. Yes, under the Youth Civic Engagement Program. So I think it's even related to what we'll be discussing today. And okay, I've carried out some community projects also, like during this COVID, the most recent one, during this COVID, under the Lit Thoughts COVID-19 mini funds, I was part of the recipients and I carried out a research project actually. It has to do with
We lost Abednego there. Hello, Abednego. Hello. The challenges of the internet interruptions is not going to disrupt our conversation today. This is Nigeria, and this is part of the conversation we are having. How can we make Nigeria work better? How can we improve internet governance and the quality of internet connectivity to the Nigerian consumers? Welcome back, Abednego. You're welcome back. You're welcome back. Welcome back. All right, thank you all for the intros. Chima Osuji will still join us. Again, due to technical challenges relating to connectivity. Chima has been on and off a bit, but he will rejoin us once he's able to. So let's kick off with the main discussion. And I'll start with the lady in the house, Nana Esther. So Esther, what does civic responsibility mean to you? And why should youth be an important part of civic responsibility? What unique contributions can the youth make as part of their civic responsibility? What does it mean to you, and what should the youth be contributing? Thank you.
Okay. Can everyone hear me?
Very well.
Okay. So basically, with civic responsibility, I think those are like what you owe to your nation. I mean, very often we just talk about what the nation owes us, but we don't talk about what we owe the nation or what we can do to grow our nation or to make sure it's better. So yes, civic responsibility are the things you can do to ensure that the nation where you are or where you're from gets better from what it is as at the time you join it, as at the time you can make a change in the environment. There are so many things the youth can do to ensure that they participate in civic responsibilities. For instance, like the can be sensitization project, which is like one of the things SMARTA is doing to sensitize the other people in certain areas. Like you can choose an area or a niche and then choose to sensitize people in that area. It can be like with access to education, child marriage, like one of us is doing, and things like that. It can also be like influencing the policies. I know this particular part about influencing policies is a bit dicey because you need to be quite up there to be able to influence some of the policies. But I guess like with getting into certain organizations, you'll be able to do that part too. And then also we can give what we can to provide through donations and through helping out and through a mentorship program that can be given to the younger ones.
Alrighty. Thank you for that. Good insight. Precious, what does civic responsibility mean to you? Some people try to differentiate between duty, responsibility, and obligation. Are they all the same? Is it just a matter of language, or are they different? What does civic responsibility mean to you, and why should the youth be a key part of civic responsibility? Precious.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, first of all, I'm not from a law background. engineering background, but I've not actually thought of it until now. Actually, I almost want to say like civic responsibility is mandatory for all youth, but I don't want to be quick to say that actually. But for me, actually, growing up, I see participating in the community. Let's start from the community now, a small scale community now. I actually see that as the responsibility of everyone. I mean, one of the reasons why I actually started an NGO at the age of 16 actually was, I felt like we need to involve everybody. Like, we need to involve everybody in decision making in the country, in the policy. We need to contribute to our small community and maybe our country as well. Like, everyone needs to, because for instance, I attended an American school growing up, and I read a lot on literature, on the American literature, and for me, I always say, and I believe, and I think journalists verify this from facts. America as a nation was actually not built by, a particular person or a particular president. Actually, America as a nation has been over the years, has developed over the years based on the, I mean, uh, little efforts and small and big efforts of everyone. So, I always have this scenario, I always have this mindset that, Nigeria can become a better country if if every citizen is actively involved. Now, talking about civic responsibility and the role the youth have to play, I believe something synonymous to the youth actually is the energy they have, the willingness. I'm a youth actually. I'm still a youth. I think for me as a youth, I think it's my willingness to try something new, my willingness to see a change, this willingness to this complacency actually. This willingness to, and this energy actually, as a youth, you have this energy. So, uh, for me, I believe it's a responsibility actually. From my own perspective, I won't say it's mandatory actually. Of course, there's no law backing it, but I think it's mandatory actually because we all have the right to play. In as much as we are living in a community, we are contributing to it. There's no sitting on the fence actually. You need to be actively involved actually, either through volunteering. You can't be on the front line. You can volunteer and take your you can volunteer and organization. So whichever way, regarding our field, regarding our expertise, they are from the engineering background, they are from the social science background. I think there's a role we can play actually in our community actually. So for me, I would say that it's something mandatory for everyone. I think everyone should be involved in it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So now to Michael. Michael, what does civic responsibility mean to you? And how do you see the role of the youth in civic responsibility? Do the youth of Nigeria, do the youth have a unique contribution to make by way of civic responsibility? Or is it something that is just reserved for the elderly, the grown-ups, and not the younger ones? So, Michael, welcome. Hello, Michael. Hello, Michael. You can unmute your mic. Unmute your microphone, Michael, so we can hear you. Unmute your microphone. Good.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, very well.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Civic responsibility. From my own side, I think it's what we can do for our country.
Oh, there goes the internet. So quickly, I'll switch to Chima Osuji. Hello, Chima. Hello, Chima. Hello. It seems to be frozen at his end. Hello, Chima.
Hi, everyone. Good evening.
Welcome, Chima. Hello, Chima.
and
Oh well, we lost him there. Hi Chima. We can hardly hear anything you're saying. Hello Chima. Still, let's continue, please, ladies and gentlemen. Now, there's a distinction between rights, freedoms, and privileges of the citizen. Every Nigerian citizen has guaranteed rights by way of our constitution.
okay,
Every Nigerian citizen has
back.
freedoms and privileges. The Nigerian citizen also expects that the government will fulfill certain responsibilities to the country and to all the citizens of the country and to the population of Nigeria. Now, when we talk about civic responsibility, which is the responsibility on the part of the citizen or the individual toward the state or to the society, it is supposed to match the idea of civic responsibility and rights and freedoms. Is that your civic responsibility is supposed to match your rights and freedoms, and the part of the government is supposed to hold up its part in the social contract so that the citizens will be inspired and motivated to contribute their own part in terms of civic responsibility and civic duties and obligations, such as paying tax. So for a Nigerian citizen like me, if I'm paying tax, I want to be sure that the government is also doing its own part. I want to be sure that I have NEPA lights. I want to be sure that I have water supply. I want to be sure that infrastructure and amenities that the government is providing, that they are of good quality, and they are effective and they are efficient. I want to be sure that the education system is working very well. If I'm fulfilling my own part of the social contract to the government, it is my expectation that the government would equally fulfill its own part of the social contract. So it is not unusual to find some citizens discouraged by making reference to the fact that they are not enjoying anything from the government. The government is not remembering us. Services are not qualitative. The social services, education, health, even security is deteriorating in many parts of the country. What motivation should citizens have, even if we are not getting the full package that we are expected from the government? What motivation should citizens have in contributing to Nigeria, knowing full well that all of us are part of Nigeria and all of us are part of the government? So I'll come to you, Abednego. I'll start with you, Abednego. When you're fulfilling your civic responsibility, are you also thinking about the part that the government has to play in terms of holding up the government's end of the social contract? How do you balance the two ends?
Okay. Can you hear me, please?
Very clearly, yes.
All right. So before I will respond to that, let me just make an establishment here. Now, you see, civic responsibility, we've actually behaved constantly recited the definition of democracy. And this is something that if you ask anyone, he will tell you it is government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Now, may I also establish that you won't talk of civic responsibility when there is no democratic establishment of a government. Now, if that is the case, it means civic responsibility is already engulfed in the definition that we give to democracy. It is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So let me now go on to respond to the prompt you give me. So how will I feel if I am fulfilling my own side of the bargain and yet those at the leadership hemisphere of the government are not doing theirs. Now, you see, it's one thing to understand that you are fulfilling your own part in another part, and it's another thing to understand that you still have much more to do in another aspect. Now, most of us only see ourselves when that we fulfill civic responsibility when we volunteer. Most of us only view that when there is any issue that arises that has to do with, okay, let me, the most common one, election. We just, in as much as in that part we might say it is a right unto us, but in as much as it is our right, it is also a responsibility to us. Now, you see, when you just go on to just say, okay, you're fulfilling your own part of the bargain. Let's say you're volunteering, but you still do not contribute to putting or establishing a free and fair government. How will your achievements, how will all the works you do be recognized, or how will it contribute to you building a great society? Now, you see, all this contributes to all the issues that we are facing now. So if I am fulfilling my own part in another aspect, it is another duty unto me to fulfill the same part in another aspect. So what do I mean? If I'm volunteering, or if I'm verging for a cause in my society, if I'm trying to see that, okay, we have this in place, we have this in place, what are the other aspects that I need to put my contributions to ensure that those things I'm working in the other end also matter at the other end? Yes. So let me just stop here. Maybe we'll just continue later.
Alrighty. Same question goes to you, Precious. How do you balance the responsibility on the citizens and the responsibility on the government to keep its own part of the social contract? Do you think we should all say, oh, the government is not fulfilling its own part, so all of us should just give up and do nothing? Or should we step forward and still contributing to improving the government, including holding government to account so that we can improve transparency, accountability, and effectiveness in government? Because I see that as part of civic responsibility too. So how do you balance the role of the government and the role of the citizens in performing these responsibilities? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for the question. Well, so for me, basically, I think it's quite dicey because, and I think it's one of the reasons why, well, I mean, most people, including me, would actually prefer to just keep on working on what you're working on, and keep on effecting the change in the community. I mean, working on, because really, you might not be able to hold the government in some areas actually. I think there are already established structures actually to check the government in what they do and all of that. Actually, there are well established structures and well established entities basically to check the government to ensure they keep their own end of the bargain. But I believe what happens is that we are actually the government. I mean, we are part of the government. In a matter of time, we get to transition with youth. We are currently outside of the government now. We get to transition into the government actually. It's a matter of time actually. So it's actually the citizens, actually the people who are outside the government that get to transition into the government in a matter of time. I mean, just an election away, and I mean, someone who has never been part of the government gets into the government. So for me, I think the change actually starts from the youth. The change actually starts from outside of the government actually. I believe you can effect a change. You can ensure, like Abednego said, you can ensure that everyone is keeping the end of the bargain. You can ensure that everyone is participating in the set duties, the set responsibility as a citizen. I feel like we can, I mean, start something in us. We can start a change. I mean, we can condition ourselves into a particular way already. So when we get into the government, then we cannot act this down because it's very hard actually to start affecting what's in the government, start affecting some change right from here. Because, like I said, there are some structures already that are meant to check the government to ensure they keep the end of bargain. But I think what we can do is we keep on doing what we are doing and then keep on training people and keep on effecting change in our community so that we can in turn effect change in the government. So I think it actually have to start, have to start from us actually. That have to start from the community level and then before it goes into the government, basically. Thank you. think you are muted. Oh, hello, I think you are muted, sir.
We can't hear you, sir. I don't know whether it's from my end, but I can't hear you.
Hello, better now?
I can hear
Yes.
you.
Okay. All right. All right. Esther, how do you balance the side of the government and the side of the citizens? How can we make sure that as citizens are performing our responsibility, that the government is also keeping to its side of the bargain?
Can everyone hear me?
Very well, yes.
Okay. So, like Abadnego and I think that's Precious, and Precious said, it's through keeping them accountable. Because if we are making all these efforts and the government is not keeping their end of the bargain, we are going to struggle endlessly. If they are not providing certain things that will help the fight they are fighting become easier, the fight is never going to end. We are never going to get to the point where all of this is going to make sense. So, like he said, during elections, we need to vote. I think most times we forget that the people actually hold the power, not government. Because obviously, at every point, I know like many people don't know they can recall their representatives and things like that, and through their representatives in the House and National Assembly, they can move for impeachments and things like that. You understand? Because if our leaders are aware that if they do not perform and they do not provide all the things they promised to provide during their campaigns, if they are aware that they don't do any of these things, that they do repercussions, I think they will all support. I mean, they know the things they have to, they have the capability to do, but if they didn't have the capability, they won't have the ability to buy all the luxurious things they are having in their lives. So if they are using all of our funds to make sure they are living very well, they should also be aware that we know what our rights are and we know how to hold them accountable. Because if we don't hold the government accountable, like every time we are going to be having a conversation, and it doesn't make sense if we just keep repeating the cycle and not doing anything about it. So, yes, that's it.
Thank you. Um, we hear a lot about the youth are the future. The youth are the hopes for the future. You know, we should, when you're investing in the youth, you're investing in the future. Now, the curious thing is, I've been hearing that the youth are the future since I was born. And that was a long time ago. And I'm yet to see that future. I'm yet to see the Nigerian youth stepping up and stepping into leadership. I'm yet to see the Nigerian youth, properly so-called, in leadership and decision-making, in top leadership and decision-making positions. We still have our leaders who are 70 and 80 years old and above. And the godfathers calling the shots in Nigeria, we all know, are in their 70s and in their 80s. When will the youth are the future come? When will the future be now? Okay, so my question is this. What are the challenges that the youth face in stepping up to their responsibility, in stepping up to their civic responsibility, in being active participants in government? What challenges? It might be money, it might be income, it might be poverty, it might be voice, it might be whatever. What do you think are the challenges that the youth face in fulfilling their responsibility? Why is it that the Nigerian youth, generally speaking, the Nigerian youth is yet to step up into leadership, is yet to fully take responsibility for governance in Nigeria? What are the challenges? What is stopping us? What are the hurdles that the youth face in contributing to society and civic responsibility? So I'll start with Michael here. Michael, what do you see as the challenges that the youth face in stepping up in responsibility? Because we are talking about the responsibility of the citizens. What are the challenges that the youth face? What are the hurdles in stepping up to responsibility? And how can we overcome some of these challenges? Michael.
Okay. I want to say there are a lot of challenges. What is most important is we need to agree we can do it. And I like, on the lighter mode, I want to also believe that the youth are the leaders of tomorrow is actually still in progress. The tomorrow has not ended. Abi? We still have a tomorrow. Most time it's just like when you go to some restaurant, they say no credit today, come back tomorrow, because they know tomorrow there will be another tomorrow. So, but there are a lot of challenges, but we shouldn't be looking at the challenges. Let us begin to look at how can we be part of the solutions. Because whenever you keep talking about the problem, you become a problem and not a solution. So, but I think one of the challenges may even be psychological, because some of the youth have relegated themselves to the background of being tools against development and not tools to. We can actually agree. It has to be first personal, then societal. But there are some of these people that say, okay, crime is actually the problem. Where there is crime, some of the youth, we have to agree that the major percentage of the people that commit this crime are youth. Whether they are used by the elderly people to commit them, they are part of the political. Some of these youth have when they can, and everybody will begin to work towards it. Then let's talk about the social aspect of it. It's also a challenge because a lot of us are glued to our televisions, especially now we're talking of Big Brother Nigeria. A lot of the youth are watching Big Brother Nigeria. Why the elders are scheming on how to take over that our tomorrow from us. If there is no Premier League, there is Big Brother Nigeria. If there is no Big Brother Nigeria, there's this new one that came up about love. Is it love? But they have the way of doing this things. So we need to be conscious before we get out of it. Then when you agree you want to do something, you don't need to be looking at why you will not do it. Because if you continue looking at why you won't do it, you will never do it. Then another aspect, another problem I think I also see is that mentality of receiving. The youth always want to be at the receiving end of everything. We don't want to give. We always the Nathaniel want to Nata. We don't want to be the Donatus to give, which is wrong. If we agree we are going to give, then whenever you are discussing, what you'll be thinking about is how to give and not how to receive. In that way, you develop a template of how to always find an avenue to chip in your own quota. If everybody is doing that, then we'll get it right. But when you agree, even if I talk, they're not going to hear me. You're already down. You've relegated yourself. So there are a lot of challenges we are facing. But when we start looking at even the internet connectivity we are complaining of, it's also part of it. Even us now, at least I was not able to answer my first question because of connectivity. But let's not limit ourselves to that. There are a lot of, there are countless, but I just wanted to pick out some of them. But most importantly, we need to agree that that tomorrow is now, and to take it is not by violence. We need to be smart about it. And another thing is, when we get the opportunity to take it, what do we do? Do we take that opportunity well, or do we just begin to look for our future in it, in that position? For instance, we have to also be very objective and not sentimental. How many of those youth that have been given opportunity to lead this country have done well? That is the question we have to ourselves. I don't want to stand mentioning names in the political area, but if they give you an opportunity and you play with it, you know that the nature will eventually take it away from you. So probably some of us have even gone to the tomorrow and taken it, and yet we gave it back to them by the way we handled it. So I think we need to begin to teach ourselves, and that is why I will continue to say that this platform, this EduTrust platform, is a very wonderful movement. We may not know the extent it's going and the extent it will get to, but I think it's an avenue for us to begin to educate ourselves and know that this youth leaders of tomorrow is not a fairy tale. It's something that is realistic. It's something that have started working. In fact, the Edu Trust is already a tomorrow happening today. But we need to make sure we are conscious of every decision we take and take advantage of every opportunity we get positively. So I think at that I can stop for now.
Thank you so much. And over to Precious now. What are the challenges to that the youth face in performing their civic responsibility, and how can we overcome some of these challenges? Precious.
Okay, thank you very much for the question. This comes from a perspective and from my own standpoint actually. I know there are a lot of programs basically, and there are a lot of underlying programs. Or one thing it's more than I think it's more of part of maybe this student are going to be part of managers of leadership. This is choice can be progress. I know I'm telling my like I said at the beginning of that before, as you need to be you need to be willing to develop ourselves as to effect the change in our government and society. So you will see what kind of program there was a time when we got that was actually so good. I know that was good. I mean, see, okay, let me see that question. There are times when we have certain kind of vision, or there are times when we have masters or national people as globally, but we see what's trending in social media, we see what's trending in like something not related, and something that doesn't bring development and responsibility. So I know our institutions might have not put I've not prepared it. I mean, our institutions are failing and all that, but I mean, this, I think it's the education is the infrastructure actually. You can be at the comfort of your room and learn a lot of skills. You can be at the comfort of your room and develop yourself and arm yourself with skills and equip yourself to contribute positively to the country. So I think there's a general disinterest, there's a general unwillingness to push themselves. Probably due to lack of education, but at the same time, I would say it's more of an internal thing. So I think our youth need to step up. I mean, they need to step up the game market. They need to be willing, especially to set the change. I mean, start from the community, solve the problem with the community, be part of the social change of the community. Start from there. And I think, I mean, you can then progress and go to that end. So I think more than internal thing than an external thing. I think more to do. Are we ready for this? I mean, do we want to change? Do we want to be part of the change? Do we want to be part of the future? So we are not just because what you find out is that most of the big programs we talk about funding, education, I mean, it's particular to every other area. I mean, if you are running a business, you face a problem of funding. If you are running a business, you face a problem of internet connectivity. But I mean, zoning down to the youth themselves, I think more of who's doing this. Are we ready as youth? Are youth ready? I mean, I'm talking about the majority of the population. Are they ready for the future actually? Are they ready to develop themselves? Are they ready to develop themselves? is to the level of their enterprise development, the level where you can actually effect change in the future in the government as well. So I think it's more of a unity.
Thank you, Precious. And to Abednego, what do you see as the challenges that youth face in fulfilling their civic responsibility? And how can we overcome the challenges?
All right. Some of the challenges, now we've already established that we need to just be involved. Yes, we just need to be involved. Now, I was trying to call to the attention of the host. Now, I wanted citing an example for us. Now, you see, when you take your own part of civic responsibility in terms of voting, which of course is a right also, or it's also a responsibility to us as a people. Now, when you take that and then you achieve that by ensuring that you've put a government into place. Now, let me cite an example. Most of us, yes, I don't want to say all, but most of us, we don't even know that we are supposed to partake in most of the steps that the government take in order to continue with their governance. Now, stuffs like budget processes, I was privileged as part of my training module with LATOT. Prior to that, I didn't know as a citizen, I was supposed to be engaged in the budget processes, and this will lead me to say that this is one of the challenges that we face as youth. We lack the know-how of how to ensure that our responsibility meets up with the part that the government is playing. So you see, if we are trying to say that, okay, we've already ensured the government is in place, but yet we don't know that, like, for example, the budget processes, we don't even know that we are supposed to partake in terms of budget tracking. We don't know we are supposed to partake in terms of, okay, you can just form a group, form a coalition of people, let's say, okay, under EduTrust. You can say, okay, you want to write to the Ministry of Budget and National Planning. Okay, just be in Nigeria. Maybe you just want to focus on a particular locality. So you can see that the know-how of how to engage in all this is a serious challenge to most of us youth. Then the best way that we can overcome this, the best way, I said it in my first statement, is just for us to ensure that we are involved and we get to know of all these things. Our involvement in governance, our involvement in every aspect that warrants our civic responsibility is just the one that will ensure all these have been put into place. Aside that, I can tell you there's nothing that you can do. And let me just give us a quote here. There's nothing about you without you. Probably when you might remember this. Nothing about you without you. So if your government is going the other way, you contributed to it. If it is going the right way, you contributed to it directly or indirectly. If you need more explanation, you can contact me. But for now,
We just lost Abednego there, but his point is clear. Essentially, he's saying that the people deserve the government that they get. So Nigerians deserve the government that we have today. Right? Essentially, that was the concluding part of his statement. And on this point, finally, to Esther, what do you see as some of the challenges that youth face in fulfilling their civic responsibility, and how can we overcome the challenges? Hello, Esther. We cannot hear you. We can hear you. Check your mic. I cannot hear you from my end. Okay. Nope. Try again. Try and unmute again. Let's see if we get you. No. Oh, I'll add you. I'll remove and add you again and see how it goes. I'll remove and add you again. Hello, Esther. Better now? Hello, Esther. Better now? Can any one of you hear her? Because I can't hear her from this end. Can any one of you hear her? Because I can't hear her from this end.
No, I can't hear her.
I can't hear. I can't hear.
No? Okay. Let's carry on. We'll return to her in a moment. Now, to the specifics of your own contribution to your community, to the specifics of your project, not only the project, the initiative for the EduTrust Challenge, but any other thing you have done for your community, any other thing you have done in advancing the youth and in advancing Nigeria in contributing to national development. Describe to our audience how your project or your initiative is helping to improve your community or your society. What you are doing, how is it improving your community or society? So you can go into the details of the project now and give us your own unique contribution to development. Let's start with Abednego, and then I'll come back to Michael and Precious.
All right. Thank you once more again for the opportunity to still come up. So, concerning the project I have been engaged with and now with EduTrust, let me just give us a backup of it before I down on it. So, precisely, I think towards November and December last year, because I've been so exposed with the concept of leadership, most of my engagement, and so I think I didn't mention earlier on when I was in the introduction, I happen to be a writer. Yes, I'm a published author with the International Youth Journal. So
fantastic.
Thank you, sir. So probably if you check some of my articles with them, you will get to know that you will get to understand my perspective about leadership. Now, towards November and December last year, I've been engaged with secondary school students, which was part of my training demands with lead thoughts, and that was what brought about my current project. Now, I've been engaged with so much of this, and part of the things we do is we go and we give them step-down trainings of the knowledge that we've gained from our one-week training that we had. Now, when I happened to be at two schools, I actually got to understand something because I happened to be the lead presenter for my team that we were there. I was talking to the students about leadership. Now, I get to understand that the concept of leadership has already been kind of altered. The actual meaning of what leadership is has actually been altered. So I came up with this idea now. So I'm now trying to come back to my project with EduTrust. Now, leadership is not just about, okay, you are a CEO in this company, you are in government office, or all sort of. It's not that. Leadership is just about you finding your self-purpose and then you working yourself towards actualizing that. Because when we understand that we all have a particular and specific purpose in life, that's when you can actually work towards ensuring that you use everything of you to contribute to the betterment of your society. Of course. Because if you don't even know what you can use to contribute to your society, how can you do it? You can't do it. Let me cite an example. You see, some of the issues that we talk about, that we say our people in government are not doing this, are not doing that. Believe me, if some of us were to be there, we might still be repeating the same mistakes. But once you